Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Michelle Boulé. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm really honored to be here.
I'm honored to have you here too. You are doing wonderful work out there as a transformational life coach, healer. You've been an international dancer for many years. That's what attracted me when I saw all of your beautiful pictures of you dancing around the world. I have a special place in my heart for dance. I love dance, specifically flamenco. But you've also done energy healing and mindset psychology, all that good stuff. But you're going to bring some great wisdom to our audience on being willing to fail and perfectionists unite, because some people have that tendency to be perfectionists, but they let it stop them from being their biggest, baddest, explosive self. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I am excited to talk about this message too, because in my coaching and healing work, with individuals and with groups, we need to learn how to overcome this tendency to really step into the things we're called to do, to be, to have while we're here.
So share with me your perspective. Where's the whole idea of perfectionists kind of getting so wrapped up in being a perfectionist that they don't expand fully? Where does that come from?
Well, there's this desire to do things right. Mm-hmm. And where that can come from oftentimes is we weren't allowed as kids to make mistakes, or we might have had a parent who was very loving, or a teacher or some authority who said that there's a right way to do this. Mm. And when I'm working with clients, and the only reason I can say this is because I know it, we know about this topic. And what happens is it can be so subtle. But if a parent's like, that's not the way you do it, and there's a little bit of an energy in that makes the child feel like, oh, only dad knows how to do this. And then am I doing it right? Well, I get criticized by dad. And as a child, your parents or whoever's raising you is your safety. And, if a parent gets upset when you're not doing things the way they want you to, the child's like, okay, well, let me just figure out how to do it that way. And there's, for perfectionists I've met, and for myself, I have very loving parents, but even as an adult, I was like, oh, sometimes there was really a right way to do it. There wasn't my way. Yeah. And what can happen is a person never learns, here's my way. I'm going to write my name. The letters are backwards. This is the child. I don't know how to spell it correctly, and that's okay. And it's part of a trajectory of a journey of eventually I'll know how to write my name, or I'll figure out the way to cut with the knife that suits the way, or actually write with penmanship. So when I was young, we had a penmanship teacher named Dr. Tufo. And, I always held my pen. I have a pen right here. I always kind of held it like this.
Okay.
But you were supposed to hold it like this with only one finger on the, at the top of the pen. So it's just kind of like, am I doing it right? Am I?
Yeah.
So it's basically about winning approval. And the way a person can really overcome that is that they start to realize that approval is within already.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think this comes from many different areas when we're growing up. It could be a teacher or people we play with on the street. And for me, I think we put ourselves into teeny boxes sometimes without realizing that, we got to stay in this box. And through that, and I know for myself, I lost touch of who I am. What is my greatest gifts, my talents? And I had been working many years ago with an energy healer, and it was amazing. She worked on me, and the first thing she said to me, what's coming up over and over and over and over again, is I'm getting that you're not living, speaking, and being your truth. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Years later, I found out it was doing the show. Part of it was doing the show. Yeah, but sometimes kind of releasing all of these boundaries we put on ourselves as we grow up and we take on different things is what begins to release and find for ourselves our greatest gifts and how we can expand that into the world.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's actually reminding me of, I did a course earlier this year called Creative People Making Money. Okay. Because I do feel like for a person to be able to align with being able to channel that abundance and prosperity and also then give it into the world, for me, it's a deeply spiritual practice. But I had an artist in there who, at the end of the course, she said, it's amazing to just see how small we keep ourselves. And this is a woman who I know she already is, but she's going to have a big impact on the world. And to be able to even claim that, to claim that expansiveness, it's when we were taught, you're not supposed to have a radio show, like, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be an artist. Like, you want to be a person who wants to be a teacher. Well, be a doctor. And then it's like, there can be so much confusion about, who am I? What am I here to do? Instead of, I feel like I heard you say this maybe in another interview, to ask the person, ask the child, who are you? What are you, what do you love? What are you interested in?
Yeah.
Great. Let's explore that.
Exactly. And like we were saying just before earlier, that sometimes the innate abilities of a child will just come out because they'll be drawn to wanting, I want to play with train. Oh my God, I love train. My husband just came home the other day and said a friend of ours has a child and he just loves cars. He puts them in order. He has a million different cars in different colors, and he knows the make, the model, everything that goes into that car. That dude is going to do something with cars, and he loves it. It's like what he's here to do. And I think we can all do that fine innately, what we are here to do and what gives us the greatest joy. We will, if we expand it and give it to the world, we will be prosperous, but we have those blocks that stop the prosperity. From your perspective, where is that coming from? Why does that happen? Because, money is a tool, but there's something funky that goes on around the idea of money and giving our goods away and getting value, or giving value and getting something in return.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the first thing that I like to emphasize if I'm helping a personal client or doing group work where I'm helping a person channel that prosperity is to, as you said, to see it as a resource. And we give meaning to a lot of things. And if a person were to take one day and just look at what are all the messages they are either thinking or that they're hearing around money? That's too expensive. I don't have the money for this. People with money are like this. And, when a person starts to open up that awareness, it's kind of amazing to see, like, it's, and this is going back to the child. Before you're 7, you can't reject anything you were told about anything. So especially around prosperity, if you were given messages like, salespeople are slimy. This person's going to rip you off. Yeah. People with money are like this. That program is in there, and that person will have, unless they consciously tend to that, they will have a hard time being able to find that resource and being able to channel it. And a beautiful message that is actually in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, is that a person to live a prosperous life or a full life needs to know how to make money.
Yeah.
And, talk about perfectionism also. Like when I'm teaching people how to do sales, if a person, sales is a service. Yeah. And if a person is rejected, which is going to happen over and over in doing sales, that can hit the core wound that says, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy. And the beautiful thing about learning how to do sales is that the more you can be in that space and be rejected and realize you're okay, the stronger you are in yourself to be able to say, you know what, no matter what, I am here to do what I'm here to do. And I'm here to serve. And I'm going to find the people who this will benefit. It's kind of funny that we're going into sales and prosperity in a perfectionist conversation.
But it runs in the gamut, because a lot of people feel like I'm beating myself up. And I hear from so many entrepreneurs, I'm working hard. I'm making 100 sales calls or whatever it is. But they feel like they're working hard and they're being perfectionists, but they're not getting the results. And I think it starts with what you're talking about, which is they're letting these blocks get in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're doing a sales call and you're trying to get something, you might have the most amazing product and you're a beautiful person, but if that little twinge of energy comes in that says, how can I get something? The person will feel that. And it's just, there's a real purity. And I feel like I learned this beautifully from my mentor of, I'm here to serve. I'm here to connect to the people that I'm here to serve. Money and opportunities come through from God or spirit through people. Yeah. Boom. Right.
Yeah. That is such a great, I don't know if you work with my mentor too. Mine, David Nagel. Is that your mentor?
Oh my God, mine too.
Yeah. I was like, it sounds just like David Nagel.
Amazing.
Yeah. But it's so true, because you get stuck on the idea that, I have to wait for this client. And I've had that experience where you're talking to someone and you're like, I'm not going to think about the money. No, but you're thinking, I got to pay this rent. I got to do this. And then you let that get in the way of you just serving and realizing that God will take care. And it's a release. And I've gone through the process myself, and it's still an ongoing process. It's not like, boom, I got there, it's all over.
Yeah. Life is a practice.
Yeah, exactly. But, I love this chat because, perfection, another thing that's come up for me about the idea of perfection is it changes. What my best is today is not what my best was a year ago or even 10 years ago. I listened to the first broadcast I did on Savvy. It makes me want to run, hide under the table and not let anyone listen to it because that was my best then.
Yeah.
But now over more than 1,000 interviews, I'm a little better, I'd say, at doing this. But that goes to say with perfection, it's an illusion sometimes. I think we put ourselves in the box because it's ever changing as we grow.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I like to say to my clients, like, an opera singer didn't come out of the womb singing arias, or the comedian wasn't like, how many times did the comedian have to tell a bad joke to realize, oh, okay, this is actually how to tell the good joke. And, just like you're saying, it's a practice and the more you can be in the space of, you know what, I'm going to put this out in the world. Like one example I thought of before we were doing this call is I remember doing some social post videos and I'm like, wow, that was a great video. I'm ready to post it. And then I'm like, I have a big piece of lettuce in my tooth or something. It's not that you can't see it that great, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to care about this. I'm just going to post this because it's a good video. And if the person really wants to be like, oh my God, she has lettuce in her teeth, probably not the person that I want to connect to, and I think even, as a dancer, you get all these messages about your body needs to be a certain way. Yeah. And of course, last year during the pandemic, I'm sitting on my butt a lot on Zoom calls and all the things and not moving in the way I used to. And so then my mind goes, well, I look too fat in this video. And it's like, you know what? Post the video because this is going to give something to someone. Yeah. And if I'm thinking about myself, I'm not in that place of service.
Yeah. It's an ever, and you got to catch yourself. It's an everyday process. And I think that's another thing our culture gets into is that, and David talks about this too, that, when do I get there? He said, if you're thinking about when do I get to the end of this journey, that's not what you want to be thinking. This is a life journey that we're growing as people and you're growing your purpose or your gifts and talents in the world. Isn't like, I got there. We're all done now. You never want to get there because then you're going to die. No, but you always want to be expanding. And how can you do that and always see that what my perfect is, what's my best today?
Yes. And, actually in my newsletter last week, the subject of the newsletter was, you now have a lifetime membership, Ooh. To remind people that, yes, this is a lifelong process. And, one thing I see my clients struggle with sometimes, because I do work with a lot of high achievers, is they set themselves up to not do enough. Or it's like they give themselves way too many things to do in a day, so they can never meet the goal. So that's one way. It's like, here's an opportunity to be, the subconscious mind. I know you know a lot about that. I'll speak in there. But then also for them to discover what is your best today, because that's a standard that I think, as we've heard David say, like only you know that. So if a person is still living by that external approval of like, is this what my teacher would have approved of? Is this what my, ultimately one of my parents or whoever raised me would have approved of? And it's like, you know what, I'm going to take this authority. Today I'm going to rest and I'm going to do a great job resting, or today I'm going to do these sales calls, work on the copy, whatever it is. And I'm actually going to do it, So, and then it's like, in that process, in that action, we're able to gauge, okay, this honestly was my best. Maybe I didn't reach my goal yet, but I'm still going to give it my best tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And the goal will come.
Yeah, exactly. And what you mentioned is not being absolutely perfect. I think that's one thing people are absolutely craving for, your clients or your potential clients, is that people don't want this perfect, glamorous looking thing on Facebook or social media that looks perfect, because they can't relate that to that. And often, most of the time, it's not real. So the lettuce in the teeth, that's real. That's where we're going. The kids screaming and hollering around you. That's real. Okay. I'm doing the sales call. I got kids. Okay. They're in the house. Okay. Yeah. But they can relate that. They can be respectful of that because they know you're not trying to pull the wool over their eyes, because you're being real.
Yeah. And I think, just to even accept that, we're all in the process. No one has it figured out. And, it's just, what a relief.
Yeah.
It is to feel that.
That's what's awesome about this past year, by the way. That's what I have to mention. I had said the earlier call today that, before COVID, I was going to these really expensive boutique gyms and I enjoy it. But what's awesome about being off this past year is I've connected with people online. We've done these workouts together and I've actually gotten better in touch with my body, fitter, healthier with other people. And it's like we didn't need fancy gym memberships. We just need to connect in a way that was real. And we're sweating, we're not looking pretty. But the thing is, we didn't need to. And now I'm noticing people are liking that more. We don't need the fancy stuff. We just need to get together and just do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the word that's jumping out for me and what you're saying is connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's what we're craving. And, if we go back to this theme of perfectionism, it's like we're losing the connection with ourselves. We're losing our connection with spirit. It's all out here rather than, you know what? I'm A-okay right here, right now. And from that place, let me connect, not from the place of I'm not enough.
Yeah. And that this wonderful time has been a great year of reflection. If you can't, if you've been times where you can't leave the house, all right, I can't work right now or whatever. It's given a lot of my friends time to really reflect. Okay, what do I really want next? All right, I don't really like this, or where do I want to move to next? I know this happened for me, and it can be a wonderful time of expansion and growth.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this has been fabulous, but I don't want us to leave without people finding out how they can find out more about you and work with you. How can they do that?
Okay, so people can go to michelleboulé.com and I have a free audio called Realign Towards Your Dreams. And you can download that audio. It's a 15-minute audio, a short practice in there. And that's a great way to just start to figure out or listen to how I'm working, how I'm guiding people. Also, you can follow me at Instagram, michelle.boulé, Facebook, Michelle Boulé, LinkedIn. Just follow those connections in there. I love sharing content and support with people. I have a monthly subscription program if people want to join that. Also, it's a beautiful group of creative entrepreneurs, spiritual, creative, heart-centered beings, all in a space of coming into wholeness, healing, and growth to be able to share what they're here to share.
That's awesome. And, I was curious. I heard that you had drew over 20 years experience in the practice of somatic therapy. I was like, what is that? I'm curious. Can you share that?
Yeah, I know. As a dancer, somatic, it means of the cell or of the body. So, as a dancer, this is a great story. Is I got injured, and injury is actually what led me. I mean, talk about not being perfect. Injury is what led me to the paths I needed, the journey I needed to take. So it was through experiencing physical injury. One of the first ones was just tendonitis in my ankles that I started to, at first it was PT where they say, okay, this is how you need to work your ankle. And then it was like just in college in the dance program I was in, starting to expand to a more holistic picture. So just like, how does the body move? How does this expression of being able to reach, I'm going to reach for this pen here, reach for this pen, take it and bring it into me. That's a bodied experience, relate to how I interact in my life. So I had a moment where I was working with a therapist, a movement therapist, and I had to reach for a ball and bring it towards myself. And it was so hard to just bring it towards myself. Wow. And that's receiving. So, one of the ways I work with my clients also is because I've had so many, 40 years of dancing in me and this over 20 years of studying the body and its function and the stories that are told through the body, for someone to be able to receive touch or to be able to really take something in and digest it, that can be related to, are you letting yourself receive the connection, the money that you want in your life, that you feel that in your body?
Wow, that is so deep. Many years ago, I had been in a spiritual retreat, and one of the things they had us do, the first exercise was hug everyone around you. I was like, no, hug strangers? I don't think so. No, but it was such a relieving exercise because I never, at that point in my life, I didn't hug strangers. So it was very uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't want to hug strangers. But, I love that you're talking about movement because so much of our body we become disconnected to, and the non-receiving of others' love and, as you said, prosperity, and it's just so much in there. So, I was wondering what that was. I thought it had something maybe to do with dreaming, but
no, not dreaming so much. Well, one thing I do, I'll just share this quickly, is in my monthly subscription program, I have a movement practice called Moving with Innate Wisdom. So it's a very open movement practice, which I guide people through verbally, but there's no set movements, but it's like, it's a time and space for you to feel what wants to move through you, whether that's emotions that have been stuck, that you can be present with them as they move through you, whether it's like, as you know, I can feel this in my body, like I'm embodying the power that you need to make the sale, to feel the confidence, to let yourself feel joy. And it's a totally low stakes, no stakes practice of doing it in a safe container. And then that will translate itself into the rest of your life. So I do bring movement. You know, that's one of the unique things about the way I work. I have that history of somatic practices, of performance, of movement. And I know that's part of the gift that I'm here to share and help people find that in their bodies and lives too.
That's great. Well, Michelle Boulé, how do you say it again?
Boulé.
Boulé. Okay. Michelle Boulé, thank you so much. It's been such a blessing having you here today on Savvy Broadcasting. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom today. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, for having me.
You betcha.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.